And good evening, Kampala. Good evening, Uganda. And of course, good evening, East Africa. Thank you very much for keeping yourself on U24. Now, we trust that every time you watch U24, you're educated, you're inspired, and above all, you're motivated. Now, thank you very much for watching the desk. This is a discussion that is always worth hearing. I tell you, we are worth your time. We are worth your ears. Every time you watch the desk, you're inspired, and above all, you're educated. Now, this is a discussion. This is a show that we are certainly and absolutely sure is going to impact the entire overview of the political, the social, and of course, the economic atmosphere of this country and the East African region as a whole. Now more than ever, I'm yours truly, Shadrach Shagaf Kisami. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are having a nightmare of crumbling businesses. We are having a nightmare of the country being in so much debt. Now, all this revolves around one thing: figures, statistics, financial projections. Now, we are having this issue and it's a nightmare. It's crumbling a lot of businesses. It's a reason as to why a lot of businesses actually never see their first birthday. I started a business and because of poor finance projection, it failed. As selling shoes and it fails. Now, tonight, are you in the same line of business? Are you a culprit like me? Has your business kicked the bucket because of projections? Are you in government? You're a consultant, but you're still having such issues. Now, the man in the chair tonight, my guest, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, this man, he is a finance consultant. He is one of the people that have breathed air and have breathed life into startups because of his knowledge about finance consultancy. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Elvis Wasake. Welcome to the show, Donald.
All right.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for having me on the desk. And I'm very much inspired and motivated, definitely, to talk about the subject matter of today.
How is your eldest daughter?
Well, growing. I can't wait for her to grow and see what this finance world can uphold for her. Hopefully, she'll make more money and get out of the debt burden.
Are you paying fees already?
Well, I'm paying fees, quite a hefty sum. Yes, I am doing so.
You're talking how many millions?
Well, international school doesn't come cheap. Let's just say that.
Okay. How is the family?
Well, the family is growing, expanding, and given that we're in Uganda, I can only expect better things to come. Yes.
And you know, you're one of those young men that really focused with their families. And how does it come? Before we even go into the figures, how does that come?
Well, family is the benchmark of anything and progress, and even just like the good book says, family is the bedrock of foundation. It's the bedrock for progress. It's a bedrock for happiness and inspiration. Each time you go home and you see your kids, you see your wife, you're inspired. You go out there, you work harder. So yes,
it's an inspiration for hard work.
Yes. Inspiration for hard work, inspiration for motivation, inspiration for dreams and realities coming true.
You heard it from the main man, Donald. Okay, now let's slide into it. You are a finance consultant.
Yes.
What do you guys do, first of all?
Well, financial consultants or analysts or advisors, in simplest of terms, are people or companies who you go to help you spread a big light in your business path.
Okay.
Let's say you're on this journey here, you're walking, you'll need someone to flash a light and say, in that corner there's a big tree, you can get some shade. Around that bend there's a lake, make sure you jump over. So a financial consultant guides, shines a light, and basically prepares businesses for things that are going to happen or are yet to happen. That is in the simplest terms what a financial consultant does. Okay.
Now, for beginner firms, I know you have been very instrumental. You were very instrumental with Inachi. You were very instrumental with a lot of firms. You helped them capture value in terms of finance and figures. For beginner firms, how vital are your services? For instance, someone is watching over there and they're having this nightmare of whatever they're doing. How are your services vital, or what is their rationale in line with a beginner firm?
Well, Shadrach, very good thing to point light on. There are two things that I would shed light on for beginner firms and established firms.
Yes.
Let me start with established firms. Established firms will require financial services because if they want to go into things like expansion, they'll want to do research. If they want to go into some sort of merger, they'll want to understand what are the financial trends, what is the analysis, what is the return on investment in this particular sector that we are going into. Yes. It's a whole big game, and there are so many numbers to analyze, and that's why a financial analyst or a financial consultant can make sense of all those numbers there for easy choice making
Yes.
for big companies. Now, for startup firms, if you are just starting out, it's like a baby learning to walk.
Yes,
The
yes, that's
baby
true.
will need to know, don't touch fire, don't go here, don't eat that. That is what it comes down to as a financial consultant. You will need to know what kind of books of accounts should I keep, basic record keeping, internal controls. What are the sort of things that I need to do on a day-to-day basis to keep my business going? How can I minimize costs, maximize potential of, let us say, friends and information? And by the way, get this right. I know I'm a financial analyst and consultant, and most times we bill fees for clients to come and get our
Consultants, yes,
Yes.
the consultancy fees, and they are quite high.
Oh yes, they are quite high. And
Why?
that's why, because we put a lot of expertise into these things here to make sure that your business stays afloat. Because let me be very frank with you. The only way we make money is if you're making money, right?
Yes, that's true. That's
so
true.
our job is to keep you alive. So that you can pay our high consultancy fees. But now for a small startup firm, I think the biggest aspect may not even be financial consultancy.
What is the biggest aspect?
Determination and being able to leverage the little things that you have around you. Information. Case in point, let's say you're starting up your business, but you want to go and pay a lawyer to do for you business registration and incorporation.
Yes.
The lawyer will bill you about 1.5. However, if you know where to get this information from, you can go to Uganda Registration Services Bureau site and register your business online. It will cost you how much? About less than 500,000. You've already saved a whole million shillings. That is the knowledge I am talking about. We're in the age of information, so whoever has the information wins the race. That's just one example.
So you're paid for information?
We are paid for information.
Okay.
We are paid for information. Proprietary information, which we have gained and improved over these periods of time.
Gained and improved.
You
want to look in that camera and tell the youths out there, they gain the information, but they never improve it.
They never improve it.
Maybe expound on
Yes.
that.
Gained information and improve it. That means if you get to know something, improve that skill there. Research about it. Consult about it. Put yourself in the deep end, and then when you gain that information, you will expound on it, and then it will become something that is more of a benchmark for you to succeed. So another example I would give is a website. Many businesses require sites right now.
Yes.
Instead of going to a web developer who is going to charge you 2 million shillings to design a website, you can go to wix.com, where there are templates upon templates of all sites, and you can have your site developed by yourself. You customize it, and it will cost you how much? Only 200,000. So,
Donald,
what I'm driving at here is knowledge.
Knowledge.
A smaller
Exactly my
business
question.
requires knowledge, leverage, compared to a bigger business which will require consultancy fees.
But do you think we want to make money and we always want to begin?
Yes.
Yeah, because Uganda is actually known to be one of the most enterprising countries in the world. But these businesses actually never see their first birthday.
Yes.
Do you think that aspect you're talking about, knowledge and improving knowledge, could be a reason as to why we do not see our first birthday?
Yes, definitely. It's one of them. But in my opinion, I don't think it is the most important. I think the most important thing for a startup business is determination. It's determination and zeal and that hunger there, that hunger of knowing that, yes, I'm going to fall down, but I'm going to pick myself up. I think that is what takes the business to its second and third birthday. Being able to know I'm going to wake up at 6 in the morning. I'm going to do this every day. And despite of a failure, I'm going to continue. Yes. Everything else is secondary. Yes.
Okay. So before we go for a short break, Donald, I would love to find out, you see, for governments, I know we have people who are doing that, government consultancy and everything. How important is this? For instance, our country, Uganda. How important are your services? Because you see, we have people who are doing that, but we are still having this nightmare where people are borrowing loan on a high, because we have a lot of debt to GDP ratio currently.
Yes.
We have people like you doing the same thing, but why don't we have such advice coming in?
Well, I can assure you that consultancy is a growing business, though it's also very niche. You know, Ugandans are brilliant people, but they're not intelligent.
You're offending people.
Well, that is the
Your
absolute
national
truth.
TV.
Yes, there's a difference between being brilliant. Being brilliant is being enthusiastic,
Yes.
being inspired. Being intelligent is being able to know, being able to leap before you jump. Okay? Being able to understand the
Being able
parts.
to limp
Yes.
before you jump.
Yes. Okay?
Nice play of words,
Yes.
Donald.
Being able to understand all of these things here. So intelligence will be able to know that what sector am I getting into? Let's say I'm getting into poultry.
Yes.
Because I saw my neighbor have a poultry farm, that doesn't mean I'm going to have a successful poultry farm.
Yes.
You're brilliant. You've identified the opportunity, but you're not intelligent enough to know what kind of hens am I going to begin rearing? What do the hens eat? Where am I going to get them from? What is the final market going to take? And in case I am hit by an instance of bird flu or coccidiosis, do I have agriculture insurance? Those are the kind of things that consultants and financial analysts bring onto the table, that extra edge there. So governments, yes, take up consultancies, but they take them up from the big four consultancy firms. And they take up these services here, and so far I think they are doing well. It's just that they have a problem of bureaucracy. The technocrats are doing their jobs,
But there are bureaucratic tendencies that are crippling that.
yes, the technocrats are doing our jobs, because there's a difference between writing a very good strategic plan,
and
you have analyzed it, and you hand it over to your
To the
line
implementer.
minister, and he makes it political. There's a very big discourse between those two there.
So what you're trying to actually, as we go for short break, you are farming, technocrats do their jobs,
Yes.
and then when it comes to implementation, and then the big dogs.
Bureaucrats, political people do other things.
Okay.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, I do not like to politic, Donald. I would love to, as the desk would love to step away as much as possible. But you are right. Now let's go for a short break. But when we come back, we're going to slide into projections, financial projections, because this is also a nightmare. Like I was in my introduction. I was a victim. So after the break, we'll talk about that. All right, now do not go away. We are still on this very insightful and very intellectual episode of The Desk, where we are talking a lot of figures, a lot of finances. The man in the chair, ladies and gentlemen, he's seen it all. He's helped a lot of startups capture value in terms of statistics, research, and figures. Now do not go away. You are still on the country's leading show, The Desk. And welcome to the second segment of this very insightful and of course educative episode of The Desk. Now thank you very much for watching The Desk. Now we are still with the man, the founder and also the CEO for Brothers LLC. Did I get that right?
Brothers Intelligence.
Brothers Intelligence LLC Consultancy. Now these are people who do financial consulting, a lot of things. I had you also introduce the artificial intelligence. What is that before we even go back?
Well, without complicating it very much, artificial intelligence is the ability to make machines think, behave, and act like human beings.
The world has come to an end.
Well, the world is going to rebirth itself from this end here. From the ashes are going to arise a new world order.
Donald, you watch a lot of movies.
Well, movies are made by human beings like us. They are a projection of the future.
On that point of projection,
Yes.
understand, let the viewers aid our understanding into this discussion. What is financial projection?
Well, without going into complicated terms like net present value, future value, and all those other things there, let me bring it down to the simplest of ways that a person at home can understand. Financial projections are like prophecies. They are like staring into a crystal ball, looking into the unseen, but using the seen at the moment. So, say for instance, Shadrach, you've started up your furniture shop. You have your 10 chairs, and you'd want to grow it into Danube, into something this big here. Danube is the future 5 years from now. Shadrach, with your 10 chairs, you are the present. So the forecast, the financial forecast, the projection is how will I get to that point there. So that means you're going to factor in what will be the price of wood at this time here versus the time of wood then? How many customers will I get? If I sell this chair at 100,000 shillings, how will inflation affect it 5 years from now? So basically, in the simplest of terms, financial projections are prophecies. They can come true or they can become wrong, dependent on how you model them out.
Is it more of speculation?
Speculation is below the belt. Speculation is
below the
for
belt.
amateurs.
So when you speculate, you're just an amateur.
You are worse than that. You are worse than that. Speculation.
But we have
is worse than
speculators in government.
well, yes, in government. But with the technocrats, speculation is not something that you can make somebody's business be on. Here you are basing on empirical facts, figures, and actual metrics, which can make you lie within a margin of error of -5 to +5. So if I say this chair is 100,000 shillings today, that means I can accurately predict that 5 years from now, this same chair is going to cost 160 based on reasons X, Y, and Z, based on the price of wood, based on the inflation price,
The leather and everything.
Demand and supply, and so many things. Not speculating.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That is probably understood by most of our people out there. Do you think that is one of the reasons as to why also still we never see our first birthday? Because we wrongly project, or we never project at all?
Yes, yes. Partly. You see, the projection is just like the icing on the cake. Okay? The real core reason why businesses don't see their first birthdays are the first things that I talked about
Yes, that
in
we
the
talked
segment. Not understanding your business too well, not having internal controls, ethical standards, a mode of conduct, basically having your house in order. The projections are just the icing on the cake. Okay, but now that you bring it up, projections will help you plan better. They'll help you budget, and they'll help you understand future trends like artificial intelligence, and knowing that, can I be able to downsize? Can Shadrach's job be taken? Can a computer next time interview me instead? Something like that. Okay,
Can you imagine?
That's what
You guys,
projections can do.
that's a very rogue example.
Well, the computer will be more intelligent than you. It will have a gazillion questions to ask.
I understand, but then you guys are actually, we already having the problem of unemployment in Uganda. I didn't want even to go that direction.
Yes.
But now when you bring it in, we're having the nightmare of unemployment, and we are crying. Remember, Uganda, the youth, over 85% of the population are youth, and these guys do not have jobs.
Yes.
So now when you bring in and you actually sell the artificial intelligence aspect, that means you're widening. It will even go up to 100%. No jobs.
Well, that sadly to say, the reality is that the world is changing very fast right now, and Ugandans and the world over need to brace themselves for these kind of changes here. So youth unemployment in relation to artificial intelligence, I don't think there's a big correlation between those two, because those same youth there can be the ones who are designing the artificial intelligence. They can be the ones who are manning these machines here. These machines will break down someday.
Donald, that's a small percentage.
Well, how many graduates of IT does Makerere have every single year?
Thousands.
What are these thousands doing? They are going into banks, they're going into farming, they're doing very many other things which are not in their field. And yet there's a very big gap. And let me tell you something, by the way, and mark my words very clearly. The problem of unemployment is down to two factors, in my opinion. And this is my model, not anybody else's model. One, a lack of enthusiasm from the population.
No, I would even actually want to disagree before you continue. Donald, I walk down the streets every day.
Let me finish, Shadrach, let me finish my theory.
Yes.
A lack of enthusiasm from the youth, and two, a failure from government policy. Now, a lack of enthusiasm is this. I live in Mbale. I have a house. I have some small land, which is enough to keep me going. I am not going to starve. But because I'm not enthusiastic, I'm not inspired, I cannot reach out for better. Why should I get out of my way, break my back, look for money, and yet I'm comfortable the way I am? I am not being inspired by the leaders. I'm not being inspired by the status quo. Why should I break my back? What is so extraordinary about me? I don't want to be Bill Gates. I don't want to be Mark Zuckerberg. All I want to do is come home to my house, be with my wife, have my 10 kids, and the world continues. Am I inspired?
No, you're not.
No, I am not. Government policy. We've been talking about unemployment here, the youths. As an example, how many graduates of social work are out there?
Thousands, millions.
Thousands. How many street kids roam these streets? Very many. There is no social worker out there who can push themselves, okay, be inspired and be like, no, let me take these kids off the street. Let me start something regarding this. They want to go to NGOs. I mean, they want to get donor-funded money to start something big. No one is willing to start small, okay? The same thing with IT people. No one is willing to break the bank to be like, let me design a program, let me take a risk. And this comes down to government policy. The government should be insisting on employing and encouraging people to stick to their lines of work and inspire them, encourage them, and develop more in the field of work they are in and their talents.
All right, Donald,
well.
that is insightful, but obviously we digressed, but it was very insightful. All right, now, before we actually go for a short break, we're going for a short break, but let's assess, not even assess, we will come back and assess, but let's talk about financial inclusion.
Yes.
Uganda government, actually Bank of Uganda, like 5 years ago, they started the financial inclusion and this thing. Just make them understand. Then when we come back, we assess its growth, we assess the dynamics after the break.
Yeah, financial inclusion from the government is basically the government's way of trying to gather and bring everybody who is not on a financial platform, like a bank, like a SACCO, or mobile money for that matter there, to get into that financial sector there so that they can access various things like loans, and so on and so forth. So that is what I can say about financial
It's
inclusion.
just bringing you onto the same
bringing
table.
you onto the same table, bringing you into the circle.
Actually, including you.
Including you.
Okay.
Yes.
So after the break, we're going to assess it, see how far they have gone, see if it can help. Anyway,
it can help.
Then we'll talk about all those other things after the break as we finalize. Now, do not go away. We are still on the country, actually, the continent's leading show. Welcome to the last segment of this very insightful and educative episode in terms of finance. Now, thank you very much for watching The Desk. Now, if you want to continue following the discussion, go down to our social media platforms. U24 Television everywhere, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also do the same for The Desk 256. And also, you can do the same also for my personal media handles. That is at Shadrach Kisame. Go and like the page. Shadrach Kisame, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also Snapchat. You can go on to YouTube, either on U24 or you go to Kisame Shadrach. Also Donald.
Yes.
Donald Elvis Wasake.
Yes, you could check me out on my LinkedIn. It's Donald Wasake, and my Twitter handle is ewasake.
Okay. Now still talking finance. But before we go back, Donald.
Yes.
Do you think with the rate of unemployment and the rate of money scarcity, would you advise young men to marry? To go ahead and get married and legalize it?
Well, a very interesting mentor of mine said there are 3 ways of getting rich.
Yes.
You can steal it, you can work hard for it, you can marry into it. So, marriage could be one of the ways to getting rich.
So you just, aren't you an opportunist then?
Well, yes. I mean, life is about opportunities, isn't it? You can marry into it.
No, from the religious denomination to which I'm affiliated, and I'm a pastor, by the way.
Yes.
You're not supposed to be an opportunist because you see, the Bible says, he who finds a wife. So you find a wife and you provide.
Yes, he who finds a good wife with a good family, who works hard and has something going on for her, finds good money too. So there's nothing wrong with getting married into money.
Okay.
If you're lucky enough, that is.
Financial inclusion. Let's
Financial
assess
inclusion.
it. Do you think they started like 5 years ago? How has it? Do you think we are seeing light at the end of the tunnel, or do you think the aspect in itself is good, but it has gotten disappeared in the worries and the wonders of the country?
Well, there'll always be worries and wonders in every given country. Well, as of right now, about 33 to 35% of Ugandans have bank accounts out of the entire population. That is a positive step forward. However, financial inclusion has gone beyond the realm of just bank accounts. It has gone into mobile money. Right now, people in villages and across Uganda have their accounts, their mobile money accounts, as their banks. That is financial inclusion. From transactions of about 480 million in 2009, when mobile money had just started out, to 5.6 trillion.
Wow.
5.6 trillion. That's a huge growth.
Huge growth.
That is financial inclusion already. Those are signs that the economy and the inclusion is actually growing. However, there are other gaps that the Bank of Uganda can be able to target, things like cryptocurrencies.
Do you actually think that can be a benchmark for us?
Well, the government and Bank of Uganda are fighting a losing battle.
In terms of cryptocurrency?
Yes. The dawn of a new era is here. No matter what they do, or no matter what the world tries to do right now, cryptocurrencies are here, and they're going to stay, and they're going to expand. Okay? The biggest problem that Ugandans or people world over are having is knowledge. If Bank of Uganda, the Minister of Finance, Honorable Kasaija, can come out, instead of condemning and fighting a losing battle, let him come out, put regulation, put out a task force to research, investigate, and understand.
Don't we have that team of these technocrats? I mean, that's always my question. Actually, I always have a lot of intellectuals seated where you're seated, and I ask them this question: do we have people we pay from taxpayers' money to do these things?
I cannot speak for Bank of Uganda at the moment, or the Ministry of Finance, but they should be having these people here. And if they are there, they have maybe been stifled, or maybe they're not doing their jobs, but they should be there because Calibra is being launched. Facebook's new cryptocurrency is being launched. It's the new world order, and I know what central banks world over are scared of. It's like a revolution.
It's a big threat, Donald.
It's a threat. It is a coup d'etat on the financial sector. But you cannot fight a losing battle. You cannot fight the flow of water. Today you might want to pay me via a cryptocurrency. Should I say no? It is a legitimate form of payment. A payment is what me and you decide should be the value. So if you decide to pay me mangoes, and I equate mangoes to my car, the mangoes are the money.
Yes, that's true.
So if the cryptocurrency, Libra, is the financial currency at the time, and both me and you agree
on it, yes.
What is the issue then?
Okay, Donald, we're digressing into
that
cryptocurrency.
That is the financial inclusion I was talking about.
It's
Other
also,
things like that should be included.
It's also insightful. Quickly, we can never exhaust this on these few minutes. I think we'll have another one where we tackle now cryptocurrency alone, and we just talk that because you're very insightful and I respect you for that. Let's talk about the credit unworthiness that is hitting. No, actually, before we go even to national debt, credit unworthiness that is hitting the youth. We have a lot of youth out there, and they're enthusiastic. Like you were telling me, they are not enthusiastic. I walk down to the streets, Donald, and these kids tell me, Shadrach, even men, big men, they're like, Shadrach, I would love to start this, but I cannot access capital. I cannot access credit. I cannot do this. Donald, how can we close this gap?
Well, number one, all startup businesses must have some sort of mold. When I say mold, that means they should have basic records. Before you walk into any financial institute, they're going to ask you, what do you have? Basically, what are your incomes and what are your expenses? Just show me a blueprint. Show me a blueprint of your existence. What have you traded in? What have you brought in? What have you sold? What did you retain? What did you bank? Most businesses don't have that. Most businesses are not even briefcase, they are mind case. I know all my records in my head. Off head, which is good. But the person needs to transfer them onto paper. And people are only looking at banks as a source of finance. Banks are not the only sources of finance. Family is a source of finance. Okay? There are investment clubs. There are grants which people can be able to access. But they cannot do that because, one, they have no records. And secondly, which for me personally is the most important thing, the integrity and the ethics and the determination and the composure of the business owner. When banks are lending money or when financial institutions or anywhere else are lending money, 60% of the time they are lending the money to the individual because they trust you. They are buying into your vision. They are seeing your capabilities. That's when they'll give you money. Okay? So take care of your books of accounts. Come up with something. Project yourself as confident. Project yourself as capable. And actually be, the money will come. As another example, the Youth Livelihood Program right now has rolled out money. They've given so much money out there.
Do we have people who can come and they're like, you know what, it has worked for me? And
that is the unfortunate thing. But the government has tried to give money. How they've given it out, what the impact has been, I cannot verify. But the government has also tried to give out some money.
Okay,
Those are loans right there.
Donald, on that aspect actually of
That
loans,
is credit.
let's wrap it up because our time is really, I won't say fast spent, well spent. It's well spent. Let's finalize it up with the national debt.
The national debt.
The national debt. We just keep adding and we borrow actually at a very high interest rate.
Yes.
Do we have people like you who go and they tell government, no, do not go for that loan. That interest rate is too high. Why should our children and grandchildren be paying for such things, yet we pay people like you in government who are supposed to say, you know what, person in charge, do not go, Ministry of Finance, let's not go, don't go for that thing. Do we have such people?
Actually, Shadrach, now that you bring it up, it's very interesting. Uganda's current national debt is about 41 trillion.
Can you imagine?
About 41 trillion. According to government statistics, it will take about 94 years to pay this government debt. But according to my analysis and my team, it will take about 120.
120 years?
Yes, about 120 years. Number one, there's nothing wrong with getting debt. Let me make that categorically clear. There's nothing wrong with getting debt. It's what you use the money for.
Yes.
And the government expenditure. This government debt here can go down in 4 simple ways. Number one, increase corporate tax and capital gains tax on big companies, which repatriate their money to where they came from. Once you do that, you are increasing the taxation base.
So those companies you're talking, MTN?
Those likes there. Okay? Corporation tax should be increased. Capital gains tax should be increased. Number two, local expenditure should be increased on homegrown products so that there is a balance of payments. Okay? Boo-boo. Buy Uganda, build Uganda. Why should I buy Johnson's? Yet Samona jelly is right there. Okay? Why should I buy Johnson's and yet there are other creams which are being done here? What they should
Quality
is enhance the quality so that the money remains within. Okay? Yes, those are just some of the things that the government can be able to do. Diversification of the economy. Instead of dying with cash crops, tea, coffee, and that kind of thing, liberalize the economy, legalize marijuana. Because I can put it on record right now that
Donald,
that the return per acre for marijuana is more than coffee, tea, combined.
Donald, let's call it a wrap.
Of the economy.
Let's call it a wrap because when you start talking marijuana, those are very controversial things.
Yes, but they will boost the economy. They will reduce the national
at all
debt.
costs.
At all costs.
Donald, I'm going to have you again on the
desk.
That
youth in the village who is not enthusiastic to grow maize will grow marijuana.
Okay, that's understood. I'm going to have you again on the desk and we shall dive into these controversies. That marijuana, actually, I had someone else also telling me we should venture into marijuana as a country, but
it's not a controversy.
You will come, we'll discuss this at length. Otherwise, it's a wrap. Thank you very much for coming to the desk. I am looking forward to having you again, Donald.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
My regards to the family.
Definitely.
I love the fact that you're a family man. All right, thank you very much for watching The Desk. You've been a very lovely audience. Keep it U24. Do not change. Our programs are coming in. We have Talent Sport on Mondays. We have Turn Up. We have a lot of shows that be on. We have movies, the one that like it is coming up next after here. My producers told me it's a very nice movie. I can't wait to watch it myself. Drive home, watch it. Very nice movie. Now from me and the entire U24 management, we would like to sign out. We would like to say good night. We would like to say adios. We would like to say for God and my country, God bless you guys.